Hey everybody, my name is Brian Hill, Chief Revenue Officer and co-founder of Imperium Data, here for a very special, very impromptu fireside chat with you today with Sudheer Matta of Juniper Mist. And thank you for coming. Thank you for having us. And here in Spain, you know, we had to come across the world to be able to talk to each other, but here we are.
Thank you, Brian. Really awesome to be here. Thank you for being such an awesome partner for us. A lot of people call me and accuse me of being passionate. Yeah. And if there is anyone as close to be the kind of passion that we carry, you do. So we appreciate the partnership with you. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. That passion, it comes through in almost everything that you do, whether you're on stage or whether you're just grabbing coffee together, having that fun conversation. And I was lucky enough to be able to catch you in that moment yesterday over coffee at the cocktail hour. And we were mentioning how the Mist platform has become such an incredible tool for partners and customers alike to be able to create value across the board. I had a question of how the economy of DevOps and being able to create new value on this platform is such a valuable tool. How are you seeing partners, Mist, and customers use DevOps on top of the Mist platform to create increased value?
Yeah, I think great question. Honestly speaking, I think API is a new CLI, and if you are not disrupting yourself and becoming a DevOps engineer, you're going to be left behind. I mean, that's the fact. So now the question is, what are the type of things customers are doing to leveraging Mist API, integrating into partner management systems and customer systems. I would say the most mundane, the most basic integrations we are seeing is integrations to ServiceNow and systems like that, is to sort of be proactive to your network and just integrate directly Marvis actions into tickets and stuff like that, right? That's the most basic one. There are people that are actually going further. There's Marvis Conversation Assistant, as an example, is now available via API, and so you could ask a question and get and integrate into your own conversational systems, right? So that's happening. There are people that are actually taking some of the advanced Marvis queries and really trying to hone in on for every one user that complains, there's probably 10 suffering in silence. Yes. And so we have this, famous query on Marvis saying, show unhappy users. and people actually literally ask that question. Yeah. Who are the users suffering in silence? Yeah. Every enterprise has them. Yep. And if I could literally be proactive to those users and say, hey, you have a bad certificate, you are using an old password, you need an updated device driver, whatever it is, that level, if you can become proactive to your users, it is game changing, right? And that's my best partners. That's what I would tell them to say. Use the API not to inform, but to be proactive, right? And so that's the goal.
And that proactiveness, and I tell my sales teams and my engineers alike, if you are able to take that active interest in the collective success of, obviously your business, you want you personally to see, but their success is our success together. You can create this game-changing relationship. And yes, you alluded to a university that you guys were able to leverage that type of proactiveness. Tell me about that story and kind of how that really just created that memorable customer experience.
Yeah. So the term we use at Mist is we're not here to create just happy customers. We do want happy customers. We're not here to just create basically even referenceable customers. We want them too. However, what we aspire for is, we call it LLC, lifelong customers, meaning you have to take such interest in the customer success, both the individual and the organization and the end user consumers within the organization. Those are the three constituents, right? You have to know what the goals of the organization, make sure you're aligning with them and you're driving success at the organization level. You have to connect with the individual because people buy from people, people remember how you treat them, and when shit hits the fan, if you were there for them, right? And so and then lastly, if the IT team is happy, that doesn't do us any good if the end users are not happy.
Correct.
Right? And so organization, the network team, and the end consumers that they support, if we take care of them, be proactive about all three of these initiatives, we build lifelong customers. So the example you were talking about, Brian, is at Dartmouth College.
Nice.
And so at Dartmouth College, they basically were a Cisco shop, and basically were headed towards another controller customer, a controller vendor, and we came into the picture, and candidly, Felix and Brian were, hey, yeah, Mr. Cute and cloud and all this kind of stuff, but we really want a controller-based architecture, and fought this. Anyway, once we got through that and they became a Mist customer, the idea is that because we maintain such passionate relationships with our customers, Felix told us, hey, this was the best vendor experience I've ever had.
That's awesome.
Because there was a week before Christmas, that one of the support engineers called him and said, hey, one of your APs is failing. We'd like to send a replacement. All included in the subscription. And he was like, in my career, no vendor ever called me and said, hey, I'm going to send you a free AP because that's one's failing and users are suffering, right? So you build lifelong customers if you care for their success and less about the vendor success or a partner success, but more about customer success, right? That's been the focus.
That's amazing. Yes, I think the instance you used, you said, yeah, I was with a dean and a professor, and they said, you guys are doing great. Everything's hasn't gone wrong, and usually that's the opposite. You're hiding from those people.
That's correct.
To make those guys at a large university seem like the superheroes who are just making this wonderful, not only customer experience but student experience.
Yes,
that's an awesome story, and thank you for sharing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, it's been all about that, right? If you look at why Mist even was started, right? The whole premise was, hey, Meraki existed, Cisco and Aruba were doing fine. Why did we need another sort of company in the midst of this industry?
Yeah.
No network before Mist was built with the user experience as the atomic measure, right? We focused intensely on measuring and delivering better user experience. Because if you can't measure, you can't improve. So measuring and delivering better user experience, that was the whole premise of the entire company, right? AI sort of came in, along the way. If you hear Bob Friday, we didn't start with, AI-driven networks. We leveraged AI as the means for delivering this better user experience.
That's fantastic. I'll pivot here just for a second and go into a little bit your personal background. Getting to know you over the past couple of years, you're one of the most passionate technologists and presenters that I've met in my career, and it's always a special treat to be able to see you get up on stage and really, not only speak passionately, but from a very good technical perspective, like, hey, this is truly cutting edge stuff that's going to change, the spectrum of our industry. I know at one point in time you had led sales teams.
Yes.
How do you believe that experience, getting out, leading sales teams, being in front of the customer, how has that made you a better technologist and ultimately a leader for the Juniper Mist organization?
Yeah, no, thank you. Great question. I appreciate it. So truly, my career, my master's thesis was TCP performance over wireless networks, because Wi-Fi wasn't coined by them, right? Okay. And so, for the last, 22 years, all I did is Wi-Fi. And thankfully, as my wife says, someday if Wi-Fi became uncool, we'd be out of a job and homeless. But thankfully, it panned out. So I started in the technology side, being a access point developer, then product management. But where I really learned, it was sort of baptism by fire, is when I transitioned to sales, and initially sales operations at Cisco for Asia Pacific and stuff, and then later sales leadership in a region SLED in the Western United States. It was really great experience, hyper competitive space, and that's where I learned that people buy from people. They don't buy products. They buy people, right? And if you understand that basic principle that people buy from people, and they will remember how you treat them in the good times and the bad times.
How you make people feel.
Literally, because that's all. Every single day when you come to work, people are forming an opinion of you, whether you like it or not. And this is what I tell my team all the time: is just show up and bring your very best self every day to work. Right, awesome. because the one day you're having a bad day, that you're pissed off, and you show some negative attitude at work, people will remember that. Customers will remember that, right? And so people buy from people. Important to make sure you make them feel that you're supporting them and invested in their success, and that completely changed the whole perspective of product management and engineering. Think the world is because they build great products, right? But if you realize that what we are really out there is to make IT successful, not to build cool widgets. And so this simple notion of the whole Mist experience, was pivoted on, hey, how can we save IT time? Right? How can we actually liberate IT from doing the manual tasks that they're doing, and how do we save them time? That became the whole fundamental principle. And one last piece on this is, we built a very different product management team, right? And the point is, we all came from different vendors in the industry. But when we came to Mist, we said, we're going to make one commitment, that every product manager that builds anything, that designs anything on the Mist dashboard, personally has to operate large networks, not advise, not show up and throw up and do presentations,
be in the
not
trenches.
PowerPoint, literally own the operations of the network. So what I'm proud to say, in Mist product management, every single product manager co-operates large networks with IT teams, and then becomes the escalation when something goes wrong. Because when they are forced to troubleshoot a problem, that's when I'm like, oh my God, I should have added this in the product and that in the product. It's that use case completion, because people are living in the trenches, is what made us as successful as we are.
That's fantastic. As a partner, as a sales and service organization that really doesn't manufacture anything, what you just said there resonated with me beautifully. We go to work every day trying to create a better customer experience. It's how you make people feel. At Imperium, we have what we call as 26 Imperium data fundamentals, and deliver results, insist on higher standards, check your ego at the door, and creating that service leadership mindset is something that's so important for us. And frankly, why I think we've had so much success with Sudheer and his team over the past couple of years as a Juniper Elite Plus partner, aligning and partnering with companies like this who have leadership in not only cutting edge technological products, but can go to market in a way that relates to us and our sales team is incredibly important to us, and I'm very grateful for the time.
Oh no, absolutely, it's awesome. I mean, I think if I can say honestly, over the last 2 years that we've partnered together, I think you have the same principles that we follow ourselves, right? I mean, I tell people, be humble, but be relentless, right? I mean, you can be fierce in your job, but you can still check your arrogance at the door, right? Ego at the door. Be humble, be invincible. Just believe in what you do. Have conviction in what you do. It just, you can run through walls, right? And so that's our mantra, be humble, be relentless, be humble, be invincible, and just believe in what you do. We can change the world. I mean, we literally are changing the world jointly.
Absolutely. I'll close with this, and it stuck me with a long time. You really just kind of nailed it there. Last time we saw each other was in Las Vegas this past summer, and you were up on stage and you said, something along the lines, and I'm paraphrasing here, a few good men can do more in a year than a mob can do in a century.
That's right.
And for a passionate group of people coming together, that's truly what you guys are doing. Let's like to think what we're doing at Imperium together, and very proud for the partnership, and to get to sit down and talk with you today is a special treat.
Awesome. Thank you, Brian. I'm stoked. I'm excited. I'm always available for any of you that you want to cross the chasm over to the network of the next decade with Imperium, with Juniper. We're here for you. Thank you so very much for listening.